A very warm welcome to all the students of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College, keeping up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students! A warm welcome to all the students. Today we are going to study a new chapter in English grammar, that is kinds of pronouns. Hello students, I am Miss Dazel De Silva, teacher of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College, will be teaching you all this topic. I request each and everyone to please take down notes. Thank you. Before we start with our topic, I hope you all remember parts of speech. If you all have not yet watched the video, please do watch. Today, we are particularly going to study pronouns and its kind. Previously, we had studied the 8 different parts of speech. So today, we are only going to focus on pronoun. I hope you all have watched the video on parts of speech. So let's get started. Before we start with our today's topic, let's know what is a noun. A noun is like a head of the family, as mentioned when we learned parts of speech. Noun is also known as head of grammar. A noun is a word used as a name of a person, place, or thing. I hope you all have got a clear picture of what exactly is a noun. A noun acts like head of grammar. Now we shall study what exactly is a pronoun. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun in a sentence. Pronouns are used to avoid repeating the same nouns over and over again. And more it takes the place of any person, place, animal or thing. Common nouns are he, she, you, me, I, we, us, this, them, that. A pronoun can act as a subject, direct object, indirect object, or object of the preposition. For example, Michael is a good boy. He gets up early in the morning. Instead of writing Michael is a good boy, Michael gets up early in the morning, we have used a pronoun. So here you don't have to mention Michael again. So here are a few examples. If it is any kind of object, then we use a pronoun it. If she is a girl, then we use she. If a noun is a boy, then we use he. And if it is talking about someone as a whole, as a team, then we write a pronoun they. Also, to tell more about pronouns, I will share you one small secret. A pronoun, as I've mentioned, it always replaces a noun. So, here are few examples. Also, we see that when the person speaks to a first person, then we often use I, we, me, us. If it's about second person, then we use only you. And if it is talking about third person, about any person or a thing which is spoken about, we either use she, he, they, it, her, him, them. So these are few pronouns. So now let's get started with kinds of pronouns, and it will be a fantastic journey because there are many pronouns, many kinds of pronouns, but we are going to study 6 pronouns today because In our syllabus, there are only 6 pronouns. So we are going to study 6 pronouns, kinds of pronouns today. Here they are. Meet these new 6 kinds of pronouns. Total, there are 10 kinds of pronouns. But we are going to study 6 pronouns today. The first one is personal pronouns. Second one is reflexive pronoun. Third one is indefinite pronouns. The fourth one is demonstrative pronouns. Fifth one is relative pronouns. And the last one is interrogative pronouns. We are going to study each pronoun in detail. As I have mentioned earlier, that pronouns are of different kinds. Here we shall study 6 of its kind. The first one is personal pronouns. A personal pronoun takes the place of people, animal or thing. To tell more, these are pronouns used in the place of names of people, animal or thing. Example, I, me, mine, we, us, ours, yours, you, he, him, she, her, they, them, it. These are few pronouns which talks about personal pronouns. In exams, they will tell you all to identify in a particular sentence pronoun and state its kind. So if you see any of these pronouns, then it might be a personal pronoun. Here are few examples. Personal pronoun is same like pronouns that I have taught you all before. In my first slide, the definition of pronoun, it's the same thing. When to use I, when to use you, when to use all other. As I've mentioned, first person, second person, third person. So accordingly, pronouns are used. If for y'all, I will repeat that again for y'all. For first person who speaks, we use I, we, me, us. Second person, we use you. Third person, a person or a thing which is spoken about, we use she, he, they, it, her, him, them. So these are pronouns that tells us about personal pronouns. These examples, all these pronouns are examples of personal pronouns. For example, he is a teacher. So, he is taking the place of a name of a person. Instead of writing the name of a person again and again, we have replaced that name of a boy with he. The second sentence, it is my book. Now, it has taken place of a thing. Whenever we have to point out any object, we often use it. And therefore, it is my book. So, it has taken the place of a noun and it is replaced by pronoun. Now, let's study the next kind of pronoun, that is reflexive pronouns. These are pronouns that reflect back to the subject. The subject and the object of a sentence refers to the same person or thing. These pronouns end in self or selves. They are myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. So, in reflexive pronouns, in a particular sentence, if these words are there, then that particular sentence is a reflexive pronouns. But you all need to know that these words make reflexive pronouns. Also, to tell you all more, a reflexive pronoun expresses a noun when the subject acts when the subject action affects or influences the subject itself. That means it always acts as an object, not as a subject. I repeat, a reflexive pronoun always acts as an object, not as subject, and it expresses or influences between a subject and the object. So mostly we will get to see in reflexive pronoun, the reflexive pronoun will be after a verb. Okay. For example, so after a reflexive pronoun, after that it will always contain a verb most of the time. For example, I told myself not to spend all my money on new shoes. So when we get this sentence, we know that, okay, now myself is there. So maybe you have to know that if myself, yourself, himself, herself, all these words are there in a particular sentence or in each of the sentence, then that particular sentence is a reflexive pronoun. Okay. You are going to have to drive yourself to the restaurant today. We gave ourselves plenty of extra time. They brought themselves a new car. So, in the exams, they will tell you all to identify pronoun and state its kind. So, in a particular sentence, you have to identify. And then accordingly, you have to pick it and write that this particular pronoun is a reflexive pronoun or a personal pronoun. I hope you all understood what is a reflexive pronoun. Also, there is a picture I have inserted. You can have a look. If continuously, if you want to, instead of writing I in a sentence, the reflexive pronoun it converts into myself. If you is singular, then yourself. If you is plural, then yourselves. If it's he, then himself, she, then herself. If it's it, then itself, and so on. I hope you all understood what is a reflexive pronoun because it is very easy to understand because we just have to identify which of the words contain which kind of pronoun. Now we are going to study the third kind of pronoun, that is indefinite pronoun. The word itself tells us about that these are pronouns that refer to a person or event that are not clearly specified. If it was definite, then we know that that particular object only. Now, since it is indefinite, we don't know whom they are actually pointing on. We use them when an object does not need to be specified or identified. As such, it can remain indefinite. They include few, everyone, all, some, anything, nobody, everyone, everything, anyone, nothing. All these are known as indefinite pronouns. You all can make note of all this. You all can take a screenshot. Now, for example, everyone here already. Everyone is here already. We are not pointing on a specific person. We are talking in general that everyone is here already. The second sentence, somebody has stolen my watch. That particular person is not pointing that that particular person only has robbed. Even that particular person is confused that who must have robbed, who must have stolen his watch, and therefore it is telling us that somebody has stolen my watch, and therefore we don't know exactly which person is that, and therefore we write it as, that is known as indefinite pronoun because we don't know who exactly has done that thing. Let's meet the fourth kind of pronoun, that is demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronoun points out or modify a person or a thing. There are 4 demonstrative pronouns only. The first one is this, that. This and that are used for a singular word, and these and those are used for plural words. So a demonstrative pronouns, it points out, okay, it points out or it modifies a person or a thing. To tell you all more about demonstrative pronoun, a demonstrative pronoun, as I've mentioned, is the pronoun which points to a noun or a thing. For example, this is a book, that is a car. These are ducks. Now ducks is something, there are many ducks. It is not a singular thing, and therefore we write these. Those are birds. There are many birds. It is not talking only about one bird. If it was talking only about one single bird named parrot, then this is a parrot. But we see if there are more than one, then we use these and those. Also in the picture there, I have given you all few examples that this, when to use this, when to this, that, those, these. So if we are talking only about one particular object, then we have to use a pronoun this and that. If more than one, then these and those. So I have given you all examples and there are pictures also. You all can have a look. So don't worry about this. In exam, they will just tell you all to pick out the pronoun and state its kind. Let's meet a fifth kind of pronoun, that is relative pronouns. A relative pronoun is a word that is used in relation to a noun and modifies or gives more information about the same noun. Or, in short, I can tell you all, relative pronouns are those pronouns that join relative clauses or relative sentences. Just keep one thing in mind, that if there are two different sentences and it is joined by any of the pronoun, then that particular sentence, that particular word identifies a relative pronoun. Relative pronoun, it acts like a conjunction. Okay, I'm giving you all a small tip to remember that in the relative pronoun, it always acts like a conjunction. Okay, uh, not those conjunction words. There are few pronoun conjunction words that you have to keep in mind: who, whoever, whomever, that, which, when, where, whose. Okay, we'll look at few examples so we'll get doubts clear. It is the dog which barks at strangers. It is the dog. This is one particular sentence. Barks at a stranger. That is also another sentence. So if you want to join that two sentences together, we are adding which over there, and that makes a complete sentence. That is, it is the dog which barks at the stranger, and therefore which over here is a relative pronoun. And if we get to see this in exam, then without any doubt you all should be able to identify that yes, this particular sentence is a relative pronoun because it is having this pronoun in that particular sentence. Now we are going to study the last pronoun, that is interrogative pronoun. Interrogative pronouns are pronouns that ask questions. Examples of interrogative pronouns are what, when, where, why, how, who, which, whom, whose. I repeat, what, when, where, why, how, who, which, whom, whose. These are the very common pronoun. These are the very common pronouns of interrogative, and it is very easy to identify interrogative pronouns because it always has a question mark and it always asks a question. Also, to tell you on more, who, whom and whose refer to a question related to a person or animal. what refers to an idea, object or event, and which can indicate either a person or a thing. Below there I have inserted a picture. You all will get examples of each of interrogative pronouns. For example, what was the name of your dog? Which is your favorite movie? Who works for you? Whom do you prefer in this competition? All these are interrogative pronouns and it will be very easy for you all to identify, because any sentence which has a question marks and which asks a question is for obvious an interrogative pronoun. So whenever in your exams if you get this, then it is your luck, because you just have to identify, pick out the pronoun and state its kind. So you all know that if which, what, who, whom is there, then that is an interrogative pronoun. In case if you all have missed it, let's recap. Let's know what we studied today. We studied about pronoun. We also studied about the different kinds of pronouns. Since I have mentioned there are 10 pronouns, we studied 6 pronouns because that is what is there in your syllables. Also, we studied what exactly is a noun, what is the job of a pronoun. The job of a pronoun is what? A job of a pronoun, it always replaces a noun. To tell you all a story, what happens when, since everyone has small families, everyone live in a family, it often happens that father cannot reach everywhere, it is not possible for father to meet everyone personally, and therefore his brother or his sister does the work on behalf of his father. That is the job of a pronoun. Noun cannot be everywhere, because saying again and again name of that same person again and again, that sentence doesn't sound good and correct. And therefore it is very helpful for us to use a pronoun. And therefore we have 6 kinds of pronouns, and we studied all the 6. The first one is a personal pronoun. As I've mentioned that these pronouns are used in the place of names of people, animal, thing. And I have given your examples of words that are there in the group of personal pronouns, that is I, me, mine, we, us, ours, yours, you, he, him, she, her, they, them, it. Then we have reflexive pronoun. As I've mentioned that reflexive pronoun will always come after the verb. Okay, so this pronoun reflects back to the subject as I've mentioned, and it also tells, and I've given you all few words which are related, which are therefore reflexive pronoun, that is myself, ourself, yourself, himself, herself, themself, itself. Okay, and then we have indefinite pronoun. Indefinite pronoun are pronouns that refers to a person or event that are not clearly specified. Since we are not since they are not clearly specified, therefore that is known as identified pronouns. And I have given you all few words that are there in the group of identified indefinite pronouns, that is someone, somebody, something, everyone, everybody, all that. And the last one, not the last one, sorry. Then we have the demonstrative pronoun. Demonstrative pronoun is the pronoun that points out to a specific object or a person or a thing. And I have mentioned when to use this, that, these and those. Okay. This and that is used for singular. Those and these are used for more than one object if you want to point out. Then we have relative pronoun. As I've mentioned that relative pronoun always acts like a conjunction, and the words in that it can join to relative clauses or to relative sentences. So I have given you relative pronoun words like who, whomever, whoever, that, which, when, and all this. An interrogative sentence in the last is a pronoun that asks us questions, and also it tells us about, it asks us questions, and words like when, who, whom, how, all these words are interrogative pronoun. Now in the next slide you all will get a quiz, and you all have to identify the pronoun in a particular sentence, and you all have to tell me that that particular pronoun is, whether it is a personal pronoun, whether it is a reflective pronoun, whether it is a demonstrative pronoun, and so on. Now here are few sentences. I want you all to pick out the pronoun and state their kinds. It is very easy. Don't copy, just give it a try. It is very easy. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy.